Today, we're going to talk about pinning your models. Hey guys, Tom here, and this is Not So Average Builder. And like I said, we're going to be working on pinning. It's very simple. You only need a few things, and I will go over an alternate way to do it without having to drill into your kits. Now this can work for any of your models or anything that has a joint like this. So most of this piece is inside the model, leaving this little section right here is your strong point, or your weak point, so you say. What you would do is you use the same process, just go a lot farther in, and you'll insert a metal rod, something that'll give it more structure. And that is one of the ways that you can help improve your modeling. If you find yourself running into a weak joint or something along those lines, or inability to paint your miniatures or your pilots for your Gunpla, this is going to help you. But before we get into that, I want to take a moment to thank a couple of my patrons, Chris D and Fiddlesworth Frank. Thank you for being awesome. If you'd like to become one of my patrons, I do have a link in the description below. It is patreon.com/NotSoAverageBuilder. And that is 100% of that goes back into the whole channel. Getting better equipment, getting more model kits, stuff like that. So if you want to contribute, that is the best place to do it. And I do have a bunch of different tiers that will help you along the way, and there's early access to all the videos, including this one, and it's just an awesome way for me to be able to give back to you all. The more money that's coming in, the bigger giveaways that I can do, product testing. I can get products and then show them off and then give them away to you all. It's just an awesome way to give back. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you have not already, please consider subscribing. Just hit the little button down below and then ring the little bell that pops up after that to be notified when another video like this lands. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Alright, first and foremost, you will need your figure that you're painting, or your miniature, or whatever. In this case, I'm using the miniature that comes with the Perfect Grade Strike Freedom. It's the display model that stands outside. There's also a seated version. I've already pinned it. But you'll need that. You'll need a paper clip, just a standard run-of-the-mill paper clip. You'll need a pin vise with a matching bit to your size of your paper clip. You'll need some super glue, and you'll need, I'm using cork. I got these at a local winery, like 50 for $2. They're artificial cork, but they work perfectly for this. If you don't have access to cork, just use one of your bottles and just take some either masking tape or clear tape and tape the end that I'm going to show you onto that. Oh, and you'll also need your hobby knife just to make things easier. So normally what you would do, just mark your hole, find the center with the tip of the hobby knife, because you don't want the drill moving out. In this case, I've already done that. Then you're just going to take your pin vise. And it is important to note that you don't want to start at the foot, more at the ankle, because if you go towards the foot, you don't have a whole lot of room before you go through it. You can do it that way, but this may not take hold because it's not in deep enough. But you'll just use your pin vise, go in, I don't know, about a 1/16 of an inch or 3 or 4 millimeters. Just a little bit, and you can check every so often using, well, if I can get this to cooperate, using your paper clip to see how deep it is. So it's about a 2 millimeters deep. I want to go a little bit deeper, and going at the ankle, you do have the room to do that. You don't want to put too much pressure, because you could snap your bit. You could snap the leg off of your miniature. There's a lot of things that can happen. So just take your time, go slow, be methodical. It's kind of tedious work, especially if you've got a bunch of these to do. But if you don't, it's not that bad. That may be perfect. No, still need to go a little bit more. Put a little bit more pressure, get it to work. Bite down a little bit more, I guess. Test it every so often, like I said. You don't want to go too deep because then you're just wasting. Perfect. Perfect. So without super glue, it holds on pretty well. So then you're just going to take, before you cut anything off, what I always do is take the cap off the super glue. Just kind of stick the nozzle This one's being difficult. Perfect. There's just enough super glue on there because you don't want it squeeging out everywhere because then you're going to be upset. And just stick it in the hole. After a few seconds, you may have to hold it there, but after a few seconds, super glue will bite and you will have a glued miniature or figure that makes it a million times easier to paint. And this is going to come in handy big time anytime you're doing something small. If you can get away with pinning it, it works out. And you don't have to buy those expensive pinning kits, especially if you're just going to snip the piece off or the pin off. There's no point in wasting all that. I think I bought this pack of 500 paper clips for like $3, if that. Yeah, and while we were talking, it's set. So just kind of straighten your paper clip out. Depending on the length that you need, you can cut it. Take your nippers, pop that off. Now you've got this piece to use for something else. Find a spot, and the good thing about cork is it'll go in pretty easy. And boom! Now I have a miniature or a figure on a base that I can paint with ease and not have to worry about fondling it or touching it. And the good news is it's pretty sturdy because all the weight's at the bottom, so you don't have to worry about this. Now as far as the if you don't have a piece of cork, it's just as simple. We'll just use this piece. If I can get it to straighten out. Well, it doesn't have to be straight. But you'll take and tape this here, and this will be straighter. Obviously, you can go higher if you want to. You can tape it right here, but I wouldn't advise it because you're not going to have a whole lot of room. Tape it right there, and boom, you've got a miniature stand that you can use quickly. This does not work for miniatures that are already on their bases, so like any Warhammer, it's just not going to work. It's going to be too much of a pain. Now like these will help you set your miniature onto your base in the future, but this simple step, an alternative way, if you don't want to drill into your models, you can still either use your cork or the side of your bottle and just tape it on there. But instead of cutting it to length after you've glued it into the model and drilled the model out, you'll take and you'll give yourself a little extra room, clip that off. The reason why is because you use this stuff called blue tack or fun tack in the US. I got this at Walmart. It was maybe $2 for this, and I've only used a tiny little bit. But essentially what you're going to do is this is poster tack. This will hold pretty much anything pretty quickly and for a short amount of time without any residue. But you need something for it to hang on to. So what you want to do, you want to take your wire cutters, you want to bend this over. You can use a pair of pliers, which I don't have on hand. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to give something the blue tack, the poster tack, to hang on to. So you'll just pop out a piece. It's very malleable stuff, but this is where this is going to come into play. You've got more surface area for it to stick to. Then you have an alternative. Now this is what I've done for this. I've already primed this, but you can see the blue tack or the poster tack in there. but this piece is stuck on there pretty well. It's not going anywhere, but this is a good alternative in case you didn't want to drill. And it only took a few minutes. Basically get you where you need to be with your miniature painting, so that you can get these guys painted and assembled if needed be, and onto your project. So that's all I've got for this. Have a wonderful day. Bye.